Good day, it's Josh from Jazz Library. We're going to do another live listening session today. This time it's going to be Jon Batiste live at the 50th Montreaux Jazz Festival. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to say a few words about Barry Harris, who passed away this week at the age of 91. If you don't know Barry, Barry was one of the most influential bebop players of all time, the last living person to play with Charlie Parker, an absolutely brilliant performer and recording artist. But more than that, to me, he was like the legendary jazz educator. He was able to take the things that these bebop artists were doing, the complexities of that art form, and distill them and codify them and teach them to people, just anybody who wanted to come do it. If you had $8 in your pocket in New York and you wanted to show up at his workshop and learn how to do some bebop, he would invite you. It was absolutely incredible. And it's really sad that the world has lost him this week. I never had a chance to study directly with Barry. I never went to one of his workshops. I've met many people since then that have, and have talked about the incredible opportunity that they had from that. And my hair's going crazy. And I know that a lot of them are grieving this week, but also feel an immense responsibility to help carry what Barry brought into this world and carry it forward. So I certainly feel a little bit too. I've read every book that's been out there. I've watched every video on YouTube. I've bought his DVDs. Alan Kingston's book is great. If you don't know, Chris Parks' YouTube channel, Things I Learned from Barry Harris, is just a wealth of information there. He studied very closely with them. There's an interview with Chris on my channel elsewhere you can find. But the world is he's lost one of the greats. We're going to live in his shadow forever. So we'll take a few minutes and mourn the passing of Barry Harris. But let's get into, we're going to watch Jon Batiste, What a Wonderful World from the 50th Montreaux Jazz Festival. Jon is one of these people that has kind of transcended the jazz culture into pop culture, meaning a lot of the non-jazz heads, a lot of the jazz cats. There are a lot of pop people that know and understand his music, whether they saw Soul that Disney put out. He did the soundtrack for Soul, or they've seen him on The Tonight Show or The Late Show, I don't know what it's called, with Stephen Colbert. But he's still very active in the nerdy jazz community, if you will, and he plays differently for each audience, right? So we're gonna watch him play for a jazz audience here. So he's gonna do some things that probably he wouldn't do in front of a less sophisticated audience. So let's jump right in. This is Jon Batiste, What a Wonderful World from the 50th Montreux Jazz Festival. Hello. C7. Wow. I think that was all just like one big dominant chord. This is not, there's nothing melodic here. He's not telling us what tune he's playing yet. He's kind of like painting. You ever watch Bob Ross paint and he paints like the background colors first? He's giving the canvas a wash. He's telling us like, this is where this song lives. This is the key we're in. This is the style we're going for. This is get ready, because I'm going to start painting the mountains and the trees. Yeah, I think we're definitely still in that big C chord. Yep, still in C. So that whole thing was just one big dominant chord. That means we're going to the key of F, probably. That big grin. The dynamic range I mean, the articulation is crisp, right? But what makes it that swing feel? He's not doing any fancy chords or rhythms here. I mean, the feel is just so on, and what makes it interesting is actually the just how precise the timing is to give you that groove, but also the articulation, the difference between the accented notes and just the regular background notes is incredible.
I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom
Nothing fancy.
for me and you. And I think to myself,
A pinky ring.
what a wonderful world.
I mean, it's classic comping. He's comping for himself, but right when he was singing, he was laid back, setting the groove, letting his voice do all the inflection, and then when it gets to the turnaround at the end, that blues riff just falls out of his. I don't know how he does that. That's amazing.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days and the dark sacred nights. And I think to myself,
It's like those little Art Tatum, little pentatonic blue or maybe blue scale type runs.
what a wonderful world.
Wow. I mean, I think what he's doing here is creating contrast. Um, right, the he was comping behind himself, singing the tune as we all know it, straight off the head, nothing really crazy. But then he takes some time to do something completely out to sea. I mean, that's completely the opposite style, and grows it and builds it up to that climax. It, the contrast just keeps you interested and keeps you engaged.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also other faces of all the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do?
The articulation.
They're really saying, I love you.
Did you see that? See what his left hand did? He held down some notes in his left hand that I don't think sounded. If they did, they were very quiet. He held them down so that the strings would vibrate. So when he hits that top note, the harmonics from the bottom note will ring through. So sometimes I forget what the name of it's escaping me what the name of this technique is, where you hold down some notes and you hit the top note, and the bottom note harmonics ring out. So if you were to hold down like these quietly, when you hit the top note, the harmonics, this probably is not coming through very well in the recording, but you can hear the harmonics from the bottom two notes coming through. Let's go back a little bit, and I want to see him do that again. Here, there. Cool. Huh. That I appreciate. If you didn't catch up on that, you would think going to this kind of show you would have something pretty prepared, and obviously he's come up with some ideas for what he wants to do. But that shows he's living in the moment. That pause that he took, you can watch his hand, the kind of meander around, like his brain is trying to figure out, where do I want to go? What do I want to do next? Maybe I had something prepared, but now I'm feeling something different. I want to go with it. And that pause, I mean, it's almost uncomfortably long, but you can see the gears in his head turning to figure out what he's going to do next. And then, of course, once he's got it figured out with confidence, he dives right back into it. I'm going to watch his hands. You can almost like see his thinking come through in his hands while he moves them around. Yeah.
I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll know much more than I'll ever know.
That flips it.
And I think to myself,
More contrast.
what a wonderful world.
That's classic. Just circle of fifths at the end. Do you think he's practiced his circle of fifths a few times? Is he we're in the key of F? I think what he did was he went to the 4. This is classic. You go, let me turn the keyboard on. You go to the 4, which is a B flat in this case. And now we're just going to do circle of fifths. So we're going to do A7, D7, G7, C7, and then we're home and F. Pretty sure he does something kind of like that. Let's see. Oh man, that blues thing at the end is killer. Kind of classic progression, but the articulation and just the blues riffs that this guy has in his hands. Wow. So much soul, so much fun to listen to. Crowd loves it. What a great time. Thanks for coming to check this one out. I hope you hit the like button. That really helps me out a lot with sharing these videos with other people. Help me grow the channel. Hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you here. And I'll do another one of these next week. Thanks. Have a great one.